Try now.
This is essentially a caution to say that the property needs to be kept clean and all garbage put in garbage receptacles. Item number 3 was discussed in the first instance with a couple of the photos in regards to the shoring up of the posts and beams that are on the property. I do have the chief building official here present, as there was some confusion or maybe some miscommunication between the property owners and myself. Obviously, I've on multiple occasions and multiple items, I've indicated that building permits are required for a lot of the work here, and there's been a disagreement that building permits are in fact needed. So I have brought the chief building official to reiterate that in fact building permits are required for that. If you require the chief building official to make comments and be on the record for the purposes of this meeting, he's obviously here and ready to speak in regards to that. As I said before, item 4 in regards to the paint and deteriorated coating, again, speaking to the property owners, that is well on its way of being compliant. The compliance date is until September 30th, so there is still about a month and a half left for them to comply with that respect. And item 5, kind of similar to item 4, I believe that the property owners are in the process of replacing the soffit and fascia where necessary on all of the cabins and working towards compliance in that. Again, the compliance date is September 30th, so there is about a month and a half for that to be obtained. So at this time, I don't believe there's anything else that I need to bring forward to committee, and I'll leave it to any questions by committee members. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. Just a quick question for clarification. I think it was mentioned earlier that there were contraventions of the tree conservation bylaw. That's not noted in any of the documentation here?
No, through the chair, that's irrelevant to a property standards appeal. So that will actually be heard. The property owners have appealed our order in respect to those for Wednesday's council meeting.
Okay, thanks. I just wanted to make sure that was happening. Thank you. Does the applicant or agent have a presentation that he or she wishes to make?
I'll start. I'll let my wife finish. I'm Calvin Fawcett. I don't know if you need my exact address, but I live in Richmond, 12764 Young Street.
And postal code?
Okay, that's better.
We
Yeah,
have a postal code, sure.
1476
Could you-
12764 Young Street, Richmond Hill.
Could we get your postal code? Yeah.
Yeah, L4E 1A3.
Thank you.
As Robert Kennedy, bylaw officer stated, we haven't had the property that long. Previously, the buildings are about 60 plus years old. Previously, it was rented annually to Turtle Jacks, and there was a massive amount of garbage. My wife prepared to state that the property where Mr. Kennedy noticed the most garbage, a bin had simply just been removed from there, 20-yard bin, which we had several ongoing. So we've filled them. Didn't expect to see the bylaw officer, but now, I mean, I would have gone to him in the first place if I thought I was going to end up there. What happened through all this for Sandra and myself was basically a gut punch that knocked the wind out of us. I let 6 employees just go away. The reason we didn't have Turtle Jacks people there is evident from the pictures that you all saw. We inherited something much worse than what you saw in those pictures. And it would have been rented again for about $80,000 per year. It would have covered up our taxes and kept us going. Our long range plan for the property with another elderly gentleman who's a partner, and it's his dream, we're kind of managing it, is to put back a hotel that was there years ago to some degree, whatever the council and town approves. It was called the Panorama. And so we've trying to get research on the property and on what was there, and the walkways and pathways. None have been added, none have been expanded. None of the footprints of any buildings have been expanded or added. I have a construction background, although I haven't done it for a number of years. I'm in another business now. I was a general contractor. So my son, who was managing things, I gave him strict orders not to change anything, because we don't want to have to require building permits and get involved in all that. We just want to get some rent money for these properties until we can proceed with the bigger vision. So that got interrupted, and I've spent as much money as I've lost and really discouraged. I mean, I'm here to ask for mercy, and I'm hoping I leave with a little encouragement, because it was really discouraging. And so I found Mr. Kennedy, but not who I originally thought. He seems to be being much more helpful to us, and Mr. Nick Schneider. And we're in the process of getting professional help where we need it. I wouldn't have thought that I needed it, but apparently I do. And Sandra would like to just address a few of the things that were mentioned, and I'll just step back. That was just my introduction. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sandra Fawcett, 12764 Yonge Street, Richmond Hill, Ontario, L4E1A3. And I asked for forgiveness because my link to my internet is flaky and it's going to go in and out. So I'm going to have to disconnect and reconnect on occasion. And one of those times is right now. So. It might make a difference. So I'm not familiar with these proceedings. I've never had to be here before, so I just asked for just a little bit of direction through the chair. Do I read what I wrote? Because I know I've submitted it and everybody's read it, and I don't want to be boring. So what would you like me to do?
Does the committee want her to read her remarks, or has everybody had, pardon?
I've read it.
No,
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, no, I think everybody's had a
We don't
chance
need
to read it.
Just bear with me for a second. Maybe I'll have to wing it. I did write it, so I'll come really close to what it says. So my husband alluded to this. We bought this property in May of 2022. And it was rented under leases to Turtle Jacks, and we couldn't do anything to the property because we were bound by those leases, and they completed in November of 2022. So at that point, Turtle Jacks wanted to renew their leases, and we had to say no because the properties were quite frankly disgusting. They were, I can't even describe to you what those people were living in, and I don't know how they did it. And I don't know why they'd even pay a dime to be there. But they did. So we said no because we knew we had to fix the property up, and we immediately started in November by replacing the roofs that needed to be replacing. We fixed some of the fascia at that time. Got into the winter months. My husband was concerned about some of the snow load on the buildings, so some of the shoring up was done. And then the spring came along. We actually kept employees there all winter. Spring came along and we just continued to plot away because we're not one of those people that went and got design plans and permits. Like, we were just plodding along, fixing things. This needs to be done. This needs to be done. This has mold. Let's remove the wall. Let's fix it. Like, it was very mom and pop, I guess you might want to call it. And then we got to the point where the stairs were obviously, you saw the pictures, an issue. And we were under the impression that we could replace the treads, and the treads were the worst of all the construction. On the one that Robert mentioned, there was no stringer, and we knew that a stringer had to be replaced on that. Didn't know we'd need a building permit for that. Because we thought they were landscape stairs. They weren't attached to any buildings. Incorrect, I guess. So we, the garbage, you saw the bills, I put them in there. We're at $5,000 now to remove garbage on that property. So it's, I can have no pride of ownership if that property has garbage on it. We don't intend to have a property that people can't drive by and feel like it's a nice piece of real estate in the Port Carling area. That's not who we are. So our goal was to get to that end, and we never got there before the bylaw officer came. And his list reads like our to-do list, okay? So having said all of that, just by way of background, you know what I've addressed on all of the points. We went and got the building permit for the stairs completely baffled me. I have to admit, I went on your site. I tried to find where do I go? What do I do? How do I get a site plan? What am I putting on the site plan? And there was a cost issue with going to deconing again to get the drawings done because that's very expensive. So we had all these things. We got talking to people and they suggested that we hire a structural engineer to go in and look at it, which we did. And I believe you have the report for that. He has suggested that it was sufficient. Well, you read it, that he wants some underpinning, some concrete pads under the cribbing. That's the bottom line. I really don't have too much to say beyond that, except that I would like the committee to consider allowing us to finish what we started. And if we're not compliant at the end of the game, feel free to come back and cite us. But I just don't think that the timing of the violation was appropriate to where we were in our process. That's all I have to say right now.
Thank you. Does the committee have any questions for the applicant?
Thank you, Chair. First of all, you're trying to make progress, and I understand that. I also understand that once a complaint comes in, our bylaw department has no option but to investigate. And if they find things out of line, they also have no option but to place orders on you. But I can see the intent here and you're working hard towards that. So I do want you to know that. So I guess what I'm going to, there's certain building, you're going to have to get permits. And I'm going to leave that to Mr. Snyder and Mr. Kennedy. You will, according to our bylaws in the Ontario Building Code, have to have permits for some of these things. But what is your timeline? Look, I'm interested now in you trying to tell me what you think your timeline is for a lot of this stuff.
Well, obviously the sooner the better, because our goal was to get, the short-term goal was to get those cabins in a nice looking standard so that we could rent them short-term. And it's, by the way, zoned as a resort, that property. So we could pay the taxes and pay whatever, keep it rolling along while we worked on the bigger plan. And we haven't even thought about that yet because that's a big plan. And that's something we're going to have to come back to you for and say, what do you guys want to see here? How's it going to work? Do you want condos? Do you want housing? Do you want a hotel? Like, we just don't know. That best use of property has not been determined, but it is a beautiful piece of property. And I think it can add a lot to Port Carling with whatever gets done. So short term, sooner the better. And I do have a construction crew lined up for August 15th, which is actually tomorrow. And I was hoping with the structural engineer's report that we would be able to have them go in and just fix those stairs and put in the cribbing underneath the shoring up that was done there. That seems to be the main issue. His thought on that pole that you talked about there was he gave what was required, and it sounds very minor, and he said it was very minor, and I think it could be done in like 2 hours. So if we have to stop to get building permits and I have to put that crew off, I don't know when I'll get a crew back, because you know what it's like in the summertime to get a crew in to do anything. It's really, really, it's hard.
So, Mr. Snyder, how long will it take to get building permits? Because I gather nothing's been applied for yet.
Thank you. Through you, Chair. Typically a 10-day turnaround period is the legislative timeline that we have to respond. If an application would was received, we would do our best to expedite and assist the property owners in remedying the situation as quickly as possible, keeping in mind that we do have a number of ongoing applications, but inevitably I will try to expedite as best we can.
Do we have the power to ask for that? That it be done now? Do we have that ability to do that?
To direct me to issue a permit.
I just wonder,
immediately?
I don't think, I don't know what the Property Standards Committee power is.
To my knowledge, no committee or council or body cannot direct the chief building official in the process of undertaking my duties.
I think I knew the answer, but I had to ask.
And through the chair, while Mr. Snyder's up, there was some comment about whether a building permit was required, and maybe you can give us just a quick history on where or why or where the potential misunderstanding might be in this case.
Okay, and through you, Chair, again, building permits are required for construction or repair of new buildings. Items such as roofing or replacement, maintenance of particular systems, let's say, would not require a building permit. The applications that have been described to me and I've seen from photos of repairs to building foundations and the cribbing and underpinning would require permit because there is inspection to ensure suitable bearing capacity of soils and that the works are undertaken in accordance with the OBC. Likewise, safety matters such as stairs, railings are under our purview to ensure that they are compliant with the OBC and the public has a safe access to the property.
And would it be fair to say that I think that this, all just came to light in June, and the bylaw department, because of safety issues and liability, once they were exposed or saw what was there, they had to react faster than they may normally react and work with the property owner?
I believe that to be true. I believe that to be fair. I think that maybe Rob may want to speak to that, but I think he had taken action immediately to ensure public safety was achieved.
Yeah, through the chair, just to elaborate on that. There was a couple different factors in regards to determining timelines. The one benefit was that no one is actually residing at the property at this time. If there were people residing at the property, I would highly suggest that these timelines would be very, very slim. Because if someone is actively traversing those stairs and it is a safety issue, as I said, one of our officers almost fell through them. We probably would have given some pretty tight timelines. I believe we would have given the minimum 19 days for them to come in and get a building permit and get going on those repairs. But with the benefit of not having people there, we were able to at least extend these timelines up until September 30th. We gave a month to get the building permits and then 2 months to do the repairs. So we felt that was a sufficient amount of time to get all the work done.
And if through the chair, if there was this work that the engineer has studied or whatever, could they not go ahead and start doing work to an engineer standard without a building permit and have him sign off on that work?
Through the chair, the onus is still on the municipality to provide those services and ensure that they are done correctly, while an engineer can provide reports to reference the works done and observe the works done and substantially ensure conformance or compliance that doesn't relieve the municipality of our duties. First and foremost being the issuance of a permit, and then secondly being the inspection of the property and the works done.
Yeah, I was going to ask the question, do you agree with the engineer's report? Like, what if there's a discrepancy? between a disagreement and what is required between the engineer and the building department?
Again, through the chair, that is a very good question. I've not had opportunity to review the report to date. I have had conversations with, I believe it was Zachary Plugers, or not conversations, but received message and responded with message to Mr. Plugers regarding the content of the building permit applications, rather than being a full set of drawings, willing to receive, review, and upon review, potentially approve that report with the content being confirmed as sufficient. Always the case that site review may identify additional items, and those would be addressed through the inspection process and then correspondence with the engineer.
Any other questions from committee? Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any members of the public in attendance or online that wish to speak? Thank you. Yes. Noting that there are no additional oh, we have another comment.
Okay, thank you, Chair. So I think I'm getting the picture now. Had you applied for those building permits when you were asked to, your crew could be starting tomorrow. And if I'm wrong in that, somebody let me know. Oh, Mr. Kennedy?
Yes, through the chair, to date, we don't have any building permit applications into this office. So the owners could have very well done it in the timeline from this appeal date to at least apply for it. And hopefully, by the time this appeal date came around, if they had the relevant building permits, they certainly could have started work tomorrow.
So through you, Chair, I'm not sure. I guess what I'm thinking is, can we extend this a little bit to give them the time to get the building permits now? Will you get the building? Maybe I'll ask the question directly. Are you going to get, I don't think you have a choice. I think you have to get the
No, I don't think I have a
building.
choice, but I'm not unfamiliar with building. I was a general contractor, and the nature of the engineering company that we hired, I thought would have been sufficient, as did other members of the committee. So I would really appreciate it if you could at least extend that so we can cross the T's and dot the I's properly. That would be great.
Feel free to speak.
And just sort of piggybacking on that, we did look at putting in a building permit. I even came in that day and I went online and I investigated it, and I was talking to other people, and I was told by Steenhoff and another person that we were consulting with that if we go the route of getting the report from them, it bypasses the building permit process. So it's not like we were trying to avoid it. We were trying to find the best way forward, and that was what we were advised to do. So it's not that I wouldn't have put a building permit in, it's just that this at considerable expense was supposed to be in replacement of the building permit. So if that's not true, I was misinformed, and I will do whatever needs to be done to get it done, because that's our goal. Our goal is not to just let it sit there. I mean, we just want to move forward.
Ms. Fawcett, you were advised that by getting the report, you would be able to bypass the permitting process by whom? Steenhoff?
By Steenhoff, by Plugers, yes.
They didn't guarantee it. They thought it was a possibility.
Well, no, he pretty much said that it would
But he doesn't
trump
work.
the building department. Sorry, Nick, I'm not. Sorry, but
We only did this in the interest of time. As I
Yeah,
said, when
that's
this
right.
whole thing happened, we were very discouraged and really just.
we had to stop
We
for a
dropped-
week.
we dropped the ball for a little.
We had to go because it was too much. Like, we were dealing with other things. Might know about that too, but we just, it was too much. So we took a hiatus, and then we came back and said, okay, how are we going to get this done? And that's the route we chose. That's the route we chose. So.
Member Brown, I think he has a.
Through you, Chair. I agree with member Bridgman, you. And I think that seeing that they have made improvements and have put their best foot forward so far, I'm in agreement of giving them a time extension, reasonable, but time extension with a building permit being put in place.
Are there any other comments? from the Committee. So as we noted, committee can confirm, modify or rescind the order to demolish or repair or extend the timeline for compliance. I agree with the members that we seem to be operating in good faith here. There have been some missteps, obviously, and I think it's interesting or important in the Steenhoff report that they also say it's important that the efforts have been made and significant improvements have been made to date. So I think all that, you know, is in the appellant's favor. It does sound like an extension would help. I don't think that's going to help you with your group that's coming in tomorrow. I think that's something that you'll have to deal with them unless I can be advised otherwise by any of the staff or committee members. I'm not sure what that time frame should be, and that's probably something that the committee and staff should discuss. Do the appellants have any suggestions or recommendations or thoughts on how long you would need to rectify this?
Well, Nick Schneider, I'm sure, knows the contractor that we favor at the moment, and the young fellow that was helping us on the other projects. And I was just going to speak to Nick privately after this and see if there's anything we could do with them, because they're available and they have time, that wouldn't upset anything of legalities that's going on. That's all. And so if you would extend though, we'll put a permit in ASAP and we'll go that route. And as my wife said, it was all the trouble we've been in, and I hate being here, was unintentional, and appreciate you recognizing that we've been trying to do things in good faith and goodwill. We're not lawbreakers and we want to be good citizens. And unfortunately, we're starting off kind of notorious. So we hope to reverse that. So I think that's all I can say. Thanks.
Well, I guess the question is September 30th a sufficient amount of time for you to do what is requested based on the order?
I'm not 100% sure. I mean, my wife and I are very busy in the city. So when we come up here, we're having to find people, and our son is very busy with other things he's involved with. And so it's difficult to find people. I'm certainly going to work hard at it to get the people. I think that I'll have no trouble getting the permit through if on the timelines that Nick Schneider has suggested work. So I guess we'll see. I have to, yeah, whatever you can give me for time would be appreciated. That's all.
I'm not in construction. I'm an accountant, but I'm going to disagree with him. And he's in construction, and I don't know about Nick. But I think September 30th is fine, because according to Steenhoff's report, all we have to do is put a piece of wood and apply it in his instruction to that one beam that was in the picture. And then we have to build 2 concrete cribs. So if the building permit goes in and gets approved, and we just have to do those 2 little things, it's probably 2 days work. Well, the stairs, okay, that's different. But my understanding is we can do all the risers. I'm looking at people. I can do all the treads, I can't do the rails without the permit, but I can do the treads without the permit. So I can do all the treads. So all that can be done. And then there's just 1 riser to go in, and then all the handrails. I can't see that's going to take very long.
You can also guarantee there'll be nobody living there.
Yeah.
So it's ongoing work. Yeah, until that time, at minimum.
Well, there's 1 cabin at the
Well,
top.
nobody be using the stairs, so we can block it off.
Yeah. There's a couple cabins we'd like to bring online. They're not subject to this.
There's a massive amount of stairs and pathways and.
So can we suggest that, you know, if they secure the boards or the plywood to where they can't be used, that we could give them till October, end of October?
Yeah, I mean, I think the crux of it is the permitting. And obviously, you know, you have to abide by the permitting requirements and communicate with the bylaw officers and in order to get that done. I wouldn't have a problem giving a little bit of an extension. I think, as I said, I think everybody is operating in good faith. If you believe that it's going to be done by September 30th, I'm not sure why we would need to give an extension.
I don't even want it.
What, you don't want it?
I don't want it. It
Okay.
has to get done.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what
So-
I mean? Like, I would like to say it's gonna be done by the end of August, but obviously it can't. But September, like, to me, that's way out there. Like, this should have been done yesterday. So I'm okay with September.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, from your perspective and from our perspective, we'd like you to get it done as quickly as possible as well. We just want to make sure that you're able to do that.
Yeah.
And you're not going to go offside.
Well, that's maybe where I'm a dreamer. So
So,
The time to comply with permits.
Right.
The time to comply to.
okay, so,
For the whole order. Does that make sense to you, Rob? Like, the time to comply for all permits, whatever, and then time to comply to make those repairs. Does that make-
So like your step would be July 30th or 31st dates. If you don't change those, then technically they walk away in non-compliance.
Yeah.
So if you change those dates to whatever, and then if you change your September 30th date for the compliance, again, as far as the township is concerned, we ask that it be confirmed. I believe that's you.
so on that basis, then what is a reasonable timeline to extend for the granting of the permits?
August 30th.
Thank you, Chair. I think reasonable, I have to ask Rob the contents of the order, but in terms of building permits for stairs, for the structural repairs to the buildings themselves, 10 business days from date of application, I would absolutely guarantee that a permit's going to be issued within that time frame. A complete application, yes, absolutely. There was a caveat coming, but I appreciate that. And upon issuance of the permit, I think if the property is not occupied and the immediate safety dangers are addressed to prevent access, I would be satisfied to extend to the end of October as well, to give the applicants the buffer to deal with getting contractors back,
So if,
if Rob is in agreement. Yeah.
so how quickly can the application be submitted? Can you submit the application tomorrow?
I'm going downstairs on your computer and I'll put it in.
Okay, so on that basis, if we extend to August 31st for the permits, and then October 31st for the completion of the work, would that satisfy staff and would that be appropriate?
I'm agreeable to that and can commit that building division staff can accommodate those dates.
Robert, you're okay with that?
Again, through the chair, staff is always going to be of the impression that the order be confirmed, so I won't make any comment on a possible extension.
Thank you. Member Bridgman.
I was just going to make a quick comment. Let's extend it anyway, because if we don't extend it and for whatever reason it's not met, we've got our bylaw staff back out having to look at it again. So
Right.
just for that reason alone, let's extend.
But I'm gonna take me. I can wait now.
You can do like, oh, you can say, I don't want. But you want to pay. Stuff to.
All done, by the way. Maybe.
All of the painting has been completed?
Carbon fiber.
I haven't done any inspections to confirm that, but I can certainly trust the property owners and what they're saying. I don't see the need to if they've already said it's complied with.
I go to bed.
I'd like to call the meeting back to order, please. Committee members, I'd just like to call the meeting back to order and get this finished. So we have a resolution based on the discussion today. Moved by member Grogan Green, seconded by member Quinn. Be it resolved that order PS 2023-08 dated June 27, 2023 be modified as follows. Number one, item one, step two, compliance extended to August 31st, 2023. Item number two, item three, step one, compliance extended to August 31st, 2023. Item three, item six, step one, compliance extended to August 31st, 2023. So those are the permits. Item four, or number four, item one, step three, compliance extended to October 31st, 2023. Item three, step two, compliance extended to October 31st, 2023. Item five, compliance extended to October 31st, 2023. Item six, step two, compliance extended to October 31st, 2023. All of those in favor? Any opposed? The motion is carried.
We'll get you to sign that.
Oh. Be it resolved that, moved by member Brown, seconded by member Quinn, be it resolved that the minutes from the July 4th, 2023 Property Standards Appeal Committee meeting be adopted. All in favor? Any opposed?
Okay, one more.
Carried.
Okay, and then we just have to adjourn and then.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Sorry, that was out of order.
So motion to adjourn, moved by member Grogan Green, second by member Brown, be it resolved. The Property Standards Appeal Committee adjourn at 12:52 PM. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried.